my dear students. I hope you are all fine and doing well. So today is Sunday. So in Sunday we generally teach in English medium, and as I teach you people of class 8 science. So today I'm going to start a new chapter of class 8 science. I hope you people are enjoying my class and your people are also taking care of your studies. We are going through a pandemic situation, so the schools are closed, but still we have to complete our syllabus. In my first class I have already given the reduced syllabus, so you can study properly. And today I am going to start a new chapter, a chapter that is all about cell. Now before starting the class you must know what is cell. So see, before starting any class, I generally what to do? I generally used to take some stories. When we are younger, we are just playing at playtimes, and what we used to do? We used to make building blocks. Okay, we used to make building blocks through some buildings. We just assemble some building blocks and make a building. Our body. So we can say that a building is made up of building blocks, or similarly the bricks, they made the buildings. Clear? So without the bricks the building is not able to, we cannot construct the building. Similarly without the building blocks we cannot make the building. So the bricks are the, what we can say, or the bricks of the building blocks, we can say this is the primary structure and necessity. Our body is also made up of certain those structures. Those structures, they form the entire body of the living organism. These structures of the living organisms are known as cell. So what is cell? We can say that cell is the structural and functional unit of body. We can say it's a living body. So what is cell? Cell is the structural, because those cells make the structure of the body, and those cells when function, then only our body able to function properly. So cell is the structural and functional unit of a living body. So I guess there is no confusion regarding what is cell. Still, if you have any question, any confusion regarding this chapter or the earlier chapters I have finished, you can contact me on the number, and I will help to resolve the answers and to acquire more knowledge on this particular topic. So now let us begin the chapter. So what do we know? That we have already learned that cell is the structural and functional unit of a living body. Okay, now how we know about cell? How? Actually, there is a scientist whose name was Robert Hooke. What he have done? He collected some samples from tree. Okay, this tree. That in the tree we can see there is a tough layer of wood. This tough layer of wood is known as bark or cork. Okay, actually it's called bark, and in scientifically you can see it's a cork. He take this cork and make very thin sections from this cork. So what he have done? He collected the cork and made thin section from this cork. Okay, and he observed this cork under a magnified device, using a magnification device. So what he have done, Robert Hooke? Robert Hooke collected cork this from the bark, dead bark, or that layer of the skin that is called bark of the stem, and then he made thin section of this cork, and then using a magnification device, generally microscope, he observed the bark. And what he have seen? He seen that this bark is made up of certain structures which are hexagonal more in shape, and they are continuously joined to one another. These hexagonal structures, they actually also resembles like what? Beehive. We have seen the beehive. So this hexagonal structures which resembles like the with the beehives is known as, he termed them as cell. So Robert Hooke, he coined the term cell, and then he was initially invented cell. So the contribution of Robert Hooke is very important. However, during that tenure, during that period, we are not able to gain much information regarding cell. With the advent of electron microscope, compound microscope, we were able to now gather more about the cell. So what we have learned? We have learned two things: that the cell is the structural and functional unit of life. Then cell was invented initially by Robert Hooke. How Robert Hooke observed the cork, thin section of cork under a magnified device, and he found that this cork is composed of numerous hexagonal shaped cells which are joined together, and they resemble like beehives, and then he termed them as a cell. Clear? So this part about cell and how the cell was invented is now, I guess, is clear. Now there is also a theory, okay, this is called cell theory, though it is not included or at this level in your chapter, but I still like to say that the cell theory says that every cell originates from a pre-existing cell. Every cell originates from a pre-existing cell. Okay, so this is called cell theory. Now about the cell diversity. In your class, you have number of students or friends. Okay, we are not alike each other. You people differ in height, in look, in every aspect. Similarly, the cells, though are the functional and they are the component of living body, but still the cell differ in each other in a number of respects. The first important thing is the cell unit. According to the cell unit, the living organism can be divided into two groups, that is called unicellular and multicellular. What is called unicellular and what is called multicellular? The word uni means one. So one cell unit. And on the other hand, multi means numerous cell unit. So according to the unit, the cells are into two categories, that is the unicellular and the multicellular. Now how we will be able to understand which is unicellular and which is multicellular? All the primitive form of the cellular organisms are unicellular. All the primitive forms like the bacteria, fungi, algae, protozoa. We have already learned about these things, about the bacteria, fungi, algae, protozoa, where in the microscopic organism, friends and foe, in this chapter we have learned already about those things. They are mainly unicellular. Okay, so all the primitive forms are unicellular in nature, and all the advanced forms, like the advanced form means in terms of their advance, like the human body, a mango tree, these are the advanced form. So they have multicellular in nature. But the interesting fact is that every multicellular organism initially was unicellular. Every multicellular, suppose taking the example of human body. Human body is multicellular in nature, but this human body initially was unicellular. How? The journey of human body begins from a unicellular level. What we know? That we know that the male gamete and the female gamete united through a process called fertilization. In the chapter adolescence, I have already teach you about these things, that how adolescence comes, how fertilization have taken place, everything. So what we have known, that we know that the male gamete and the female gamete fuses together through a process called fertilization, resulting in the formation of a single cell structure called zygote. These zygote repeatedly divides. This zygote repeatedly divides by the process called cell division. This zygote repeatedly divides by the process called cell division, and as a result of the cell division, the zygote now divides half, again divides 4 cells, again divides 6 cells, 8 cells. But by this repeated division, this unicellular cell, the unicellular zygote, results in formation of a multicellular human body. Clear? So we can say that according to the cell unit, the cells are 2 types, that is the unicellular, that is the one cell structure, and multicellular, that is the body having numerous cells. Now every multicellular organism, initially they starts their journey from a single cell condition, that is the unicellular form condition. How is established that? We can say that because every multicellular organism initially develop from a zygote, and the zygote is actually unicellular condition, and this zygote develops by fusion of male gamete and female gamete. And after the zygote formation, this zygote repeatedly divides and redivides, resulting in the formation of a multicellular structure. Okay? So this, according to cell unit, we have already cleared that unicellular and multicellular. Now according to the cell size, the cellular organisms also vary in terms of their cell size. Okay, suppose you want to measure this pen. How will you measure? You will measure this pen into centimeter. The cells are microscopic in nature and they are measured into micron. Okay, they are measured in millimicron nature. Now the cell size, they may be from very minimum, that is the 0.01 micron. This is the small, we can say the PPLO, pluro-pneumono-like organism. This is the smallest form of cell, and 2, it varies up to the egg. The egg is also cell, but it's visible through a naked eye. So, but these forms are very minute in nature. So the cells exhibit diversity in terms of the cell size also. Clear? Now, depending upon the cell shape, the cells are also exhibit diversity. How? Some cells are like this kind, that is the tapering both ends. They have tapering at the ends and thick at the middle. They are elastic in nature, and we can see this kind of cells in case of muscle cells. So this is one form of cell that is having tapering at the ends and thick at the middle portion, elastic in nature, and they are we have found them in the muscle cells. Now some of the cells are more or less spherical in shape, like that of the RBC, that is the red blood corpuscles. Because of this red blood corpuscles, our blood is red in nature. The red blood corpuscles, they contain a special kind of pigment, the iron actually, the heme, they contain the heme, there is the iron, and that's why our blood is red in nature. Okay. Now some of the cells are highly branched. These cells are called nerve cells. Or the neurons actually. Now what is the function of neuron? I will explain just 2 minutes. Now we can say this, they are highly branched like a tree branching. This is called the neuron. That is a nerve cell. Clear? Now these nerve cells are highly branched. We have seen that. Now what is the function of these nerve cells? See, the nerve cells, they carry sensation. Suppose whenever you any kind of pain is there at your leg or any part of the body, this sensation is from that particular organ or particular area is carried to the brain, and brain again send responses. This sensation is carried through the neuron. So see, this is a branch like structure, and they join one end to one end to forming a continuous structure from the network and that throughout the body. So we can say that depending upon the structure, the cell shape, the cells are also varied. Some of them have more or less spindle shape, tapering at both ends, thick at middle part like the muscle cells. Some of them are spherical shape, that is the RBC. Because of the spherical nature, they can easily move throughout the veins, and some of them are highly branched as seen in the case of the nerve cells or the neurons. Now some cells like amoeba, some cells, they also can change their body shape. Amoeba, this is amoeba, no body shape, it's a single cellular structure. Amoeba is a unicellular structure. It has no body shape. It continuously changes its body shape. These structures are called pseudopodia. What is the meaning of pseudopodia? The word pseudo means false and podia means fit. So false fit. Actually through this pseudopodia the amoeba moves this. Now what is the function of pseudopodia? It have two functions. First in movement, and second in also in their they also, with the help of pseudopodia, they also engulf their food. There is also a cell within our body which can change the shape. Now what is the name of this cell? That is WBC. That is a white blood corpuscle. Question may come, name a cell within our body which can change the shape. That is the WBC. So depending upon the cell shape, we can say the cell shape, the cells also exhibit in terms of the morphology. They may be spindle shape, they may be spherical shape, they may be irregular shape like WBC or amoeba, or they may be highly branched, that is like that of the neuron cell. If you have any question from this chapter or the chapters I have finished already, you may call me so I can help you people. Now next is the function of the cell. The cell is the very important. Actually the cell perform. That's why our body is able to work. So cell functioning is very important. Okay. Now the cell structure. Cell is present in living body. The living body is divided into two categories. That is the plant and the animal. The plant cell is more or less hexagonal or rhomboid shape, or the animal cell is more or less spherical in nature. Always remember one thing, that the biological structures never maintain appropriate geometrical fashion. Okay, just remember one thing, that the biological cell structures, any biological structure, they never exhibit or follow the geometrical fashion. Okay, because in geometry there is every angles are appropriate. Okay, but in biology they never follow this geometrical fashion. Now we will discuss about the cell structure of both the plant and the animal. Now let us draw a cell of a plant. This is a plant cells outline, and this is an animal cell outline. Whether it's in plant cell or animal cell, every cell they contain a protective membrane outside it. This protective membrane is called cell membrane. This is a protective membrane, and this protective membrane is called cell membrane. The cell membrane, so we can say this is a cell membrane. Now what is the feature of the cell membrane? The cell membrane is living in nature. One more point. The porous, it is porous, it have pores. The cell membrane have pores on its surface. Because of these pores, the biomolecules can come inside, also can go outside. So the cell membrane is living and is also porous in nature. So because of this porous in nature, the biomolecules can exit and entry. Porous, one is living, porous. And third point, the cell membrane, it provides the shape. It provides a rigidity shape. In case of the plant cell, it's a plant cell, and this is an animal cell. In case of plant cell, outside the cell membrane, there is a one more layer. So this layer. So this layer is exclusively found in case of plant cell, and this layer is called cell wall. So what is the feature of cell wall? The cell wall is exclusive for plant cell. This is tough, dead, non-porous. So the cell wall which presents outside the cell membrane, this is tough, dead, non-porous in nature, and it's all exclusively found in the plant cells only. Now there may be one question, why the plant cell only contain the cell wall, not the animal cell? The answer is that the plant, they have to always withstand the adverse climatic condition. Okay, because they are not able to locomote, they have to fix in one position, and standing at that position they have to face all the adverse natural phenomenon, whether there may be drought, high winter, rain, whatever the thing. So they have to be adapt to the adverse climatic situation, and for this reason they develop an extra protective covering outside the cell membrane, and which is dead as a result of this dead nature, and they can withstand the every adverse condition. So this is the function of the cell wall. Clear? the within the cell membrane, the matrix, this is the matrix of the both the cell, plant cell as well as the animal cell. The cell membrane enclose the matrix of both the cell, and this matrix is called cytoplasm. This matrix is called cytoplasm. So what is the function of cytoplasm? Cytoplasm is the matrix. 1 point. The cytoplasm contains all the cellular organelles. So all the cellular organelles are present within the matrix, that is the cytoplasm. In cell, the most important cellular organelle is the nucleus. The nucleus is more or less a spherical structure. So there is a nucleus in every cell, the plant cell or the animal cell. What is the plant cell? So this is the spherical structure is called nucleus. Now this nucleus have to be distinct from the cytoplasm. It have to be a demarked distinction from the cytoplasm. So the nucleus also have a layer outside the it, and this layer is known as the nuclear membrane. So this is the nuclear membrane. The nuclear membrane is also highly porous and living in nature. And what is the function of this nuclear membrane? This nuclear membrane, it divides the or demark the cytoplasm from the nucleus. Now within the nucleus there is a one more small cellular structure. This is called the spherical structure. This is called the nucleolus. So this is the nucleolus. Okay. The main part of the nucleus there, this in the case of cell, this matrix is called the cytoplasm, and in the case of nucleus, this matrix is called the nucleoplasm. So this is the nucleoplasm. Okay. The main part of the nucleus, actually a nucleus contains number of highly coiled thread-like structures. There is a number of highly coiled thread-like structures within the nucleus. This thread-like structure is called the chromatin fiber. So this is the chromatin fiber. Now what is this chromatin fiber? This chromatin fiber, let me draw on this side. This chromatin fiber, they are highly coiled, thread-like structures and coiled. During cell division, these chromatin fibers, they form chromatids. This is the rod-like structure. This is the chromatids. These chromatids again later on divides into two equal halves. At the middle part, they are still connected. This is a part of connection. This, and then they are called the sister chromatids. Initially they are called the chromatids and sister chromatids, and this is called chromosome. Now why chromosome is very important? This chromosome, they actually consist of this highly coiled thread-like structures, the chromatin. So from chromatin, the chromatin to chromatid, they divides to form the sister chromatid, and this is actually the chromosome. This chromatin, they contains the DNA or the gene. Every family has their unique distinct features, and these features are carried by the DNA or the gene. So that's why this part of the cell, is the nucleus part of the cell, is very important, because within the nucleus contains the chromatin, and the chromatin actually bears the DNA and the other gene, and this DNA or the gene, they contain the characteristics features of every family, or we can say the generation. Clear? So this part is very important. There may be questions which part of the cell they do contain the hereditary features. These hereditary features are carried by the gene that are present within the nucleus, that is within the chromosome. Now this is the matrix. As I told, the cytoplasm is the matrix. So the matrix is contained in number of cellular organelles. Now what is the cellular organelles? Some of the important cellular organelles are mitochondria. Every cell they contain mitochondria. This is called the mitochondria. Now what is the function of mitochondria? Suppose you are working, okay, in computer, you need charge electricity, and this where from the electricity comes from the power grid, and we have a number of electricity system, wind electricity, hydropower electricity, whatever the thing, and nuclear electricity. So without electricity we cannot able to work. Similarly, the cell also needs energy. The mitochondria is the part of the cellular organelles which provides energy for functioning. That's why mitochondria is called the powerhouse of cell. The mitochondria provides the power, and the power in terms of cellular level is the ATP, that is the adenosine triphosphate. Clear? Now within this matrix there is also one more important cellular organelle, that is called the ribosome. The ribosome is a 2-unit structure. This is a 1 unit and this is 1 unit. So it's a 2-unit structures. Let me draw on this part. This is the ribosome. Now what is the function of ribosome? As I told that in one chapter in nutrition also, that our body requires protein. Without protein we will not be able to perform. Even this cell, the cell membrane, is also made up of the protein. So protein is very important. Protein provides us the protein is the building block of our cell. As the starch, they provide us energy. Protein is the building block of our cell. Every muscle, they are made up of the protein. Even the hair is also made up of a protein known as the keratin. So protein is very important. Now who will provide or manufacture this protein? In the ribosome, this is the manufacturing house of protein. The ribosome is the manufacturing house of the protein. Now how we will be able to differentiate between a plant cell and an animal cell? Within this plant cell there is a special kind of pigment present. This pigment are called the chloroplastids. Because of this chloroplastids, the plant cells are green in color and they are able to perform a specific function known as the photosynthesis. Clear? Now one more feature of the plant cell, the plant cells, they do contain vacuoles, large size vacuoles. They are called the vacuoles. Vacuoles are mainly found in the plant cells and they are actually large size. So this is all about the plant cell and also the animal cell. So I guess every part is finished. So I am once again just reviving the whole part of the chapter. What we learned that initially we learned that our body is made up of cell. What is the cell? Cell is the structural and functional unit of the living body. Without the cell, our body is not able to we cannot able to develop the body system, the system. when these cells, all the cells, they are connected to each other, then they form the tissue. And a number of cells, they aggregate together, assemble together, and then they form a structure or unit called the tissue. When a tissue is involved in performing a particular kind of function, and it is called the organ. Like a number of cells involved here aggregate together to form the heart. Okay, the pericardial muscle, the pericardial cells. The heart is also known as the heart. Is whenever there is a pericardium, when you will get the pericardium, always remember that the pericardium is related to something about the heart. Okay, and the cells of this heart, they perform specific function. They only pump the blood. So this is the heart is the organ. So the cells aggregate together. The cell mass is known as the organ and tissue. And when the tissue function a particular particular activity, then it is called the tissue. Clear? Now the cells may vary in a number of ways. The first important is that they may vary in their morphology. Some of the cells are spindle shape, more or less tapering at both the ends and thickened at the middle part, like the muscle cells. Some of the cells are round or spherical shape, like the RBC, and some of the cells are highly branched, like the neuron cell. Okay, there are some cells which are also able to change their shape or morphology, like that the WBC. WBC is able to change their shape or morphology. Now there is also a organism, amoeba, which is also can change their body shape. Amoeba does not have any specific body shape, and whenever their body fluid moves to a particular direction, there forms a projection or projection. These projections, through these projections, the amoeba able to walk. These projections are called the pseudopodia or false feet. Now, so according to cell shape, we have learned that the cells are of different in shape in nature. Now, according to the cell unit, according to the cell unit, the cells are also different. The cells, according to cell unit, they can be classified into unicellular or multicellular. Unicellular means when only a single cell make the complete organism. Like all the lower organisms are unicellular in nature. Amoeba, bacteria, protozoa, they are unicellular in nature. They are primitive also. Whereas the multicellular are the higher class of organism, like the human body, the higher plants like the mango tree. This is the higher category of the organism, and they are multicellular in nature. The multicellular organism, they start their life from a unicellular stage only. We have already learned that the male gamete and the female gamete fertilizes through a process of the fertilization, and resulting in the formation of one cell structure called the zygote. This zygote repeatedly divides and redivides, resulting in the formation of the multicellular body or the structure. Clear? So, and then the cell size. The cell size is measured in terms of micron. Okay, the smallest of the cell is the PPLO, pleuropneumonia-like organism. To the largest cell size is the ostrich egg also. So the cell, they exhibit diversity in terms of the shape, morphology, and also in terms of the function. Clear? In terms of the function also. Now now in a brief history of the cell, about the brief history or structure of the cell is now there. The plant cell and the animal cell. The plant cell is more or less rhomboid in shape, whereas the animal is a spherical in shape. The plant cell and also the animal cell, they have a protective covering outside this. This protective covering is called the cell membrane. The cell membrane is highly porous, living in nature, and because of this porous nature, the biomolecules can exit and also entry. Okay. In case of plant cell, there is an extra more protective covering outside the cell membrane, and this extra more protective covering is known as the cell wall. The cell wall is tough, dead, highly dignified in nature, and this because of the cell wall, the plant cells are able to withstand any adverse climatic condition. Clear? The cell membrane, it encloses the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is the matrix of the cell. Within the cytoplasm, a number of organelles are embedded. Okay, we will discuss the organelles later on. One of the most important organelles of cell, or you can say the most important organelle of cell, is the nucleus. The nucleus is also more or less spherical shape in structure. The nucleus is also bounded by a very thin, delicate membrane like that of cell membrane, and this membrane is called the nuclear membrane. The nuclear membrane is also highly thin, porous in nature. Within the nuclear membrane there is a nucleoplasm. The nucleoplasm is also similarly the matrix of the nucleus. At the one part of the nucleus there is a small cellular structure. This is called the nucleolus. And the whole nucleus, within the whole nucleus there is a very thin fibrous structures, highly coiled, and these structures are called as the chromatin fiber. This chromatin fiber, they do contain the DNA or the gene. The chromatin fiber later on during cell division they develop initially the chromatids later on divides to form the sister chromatid, and this structure is known as the chromosome. The DNA or the gene, they carry the hereditary information of any generation. Coming to the cell matrix, the cell matrix encloses a number of important cell organelles. The first important cell organelle is the mitochondria. The mitochondria is called the powerhouse of the cell. It provides energy. The form of the energy in case of mitochondria is adenosine triphosphate. Then it also have the ribosome. The ribosome is the cellular organelle which is able to synthesize protein. The protein is very important for our body, as we know that the starch forms they provide us energy, whereas the protein forms they are from the building block of the cell. Even the our cell membrane or the nuclear membrane is form of the protein also only. Now something different about the plant cell. The plant cell, they contain a specific something different, a typical kind of plastids which imparts color to the cell. This plastid is called the chloroplastid. And the plant cell, they do contain large number of vacuoles. Okay, that is the difference between the plant cell and the animal cell. Whereas vacuoles are absent in case of animal cell, and plastids are also absent in case of our animal cell. They are a part of this mitochondria, Golgi body, vacuoles, ribosome. There is some Golgi body is not there. Some structure, specific structure. These are called the Golgi body. These Golgi body are generally remain connected to the nucleus. This is the Golgi body, and this Golgi body are generally found to connected with the nucleus to the cell membrane. This structure is called the Golgi bodies. This is the Golgi bodies. So today I have finished every question from this chapter. Still, if you have any query or confusion, you may ask me, so I will help to answer them. So see, there are some specific term in your at the Vishish Shabdo or the important words. Let me discuss. Cell. What is cell? Cell is the structural and functional unit of the living body. Then cell wall. What is the cell wall? Cell wall is the outer, tough, dead, protective covering of the plant cell. And the cell membrane. Cell membrane is the very thin, delicate, porous, protective covering outside the cell. The cell membrane is present in every cell, whether it's a plant cell or the animal cell. The chloroplast is a pigment which is impart blue coloration and is typically found in the plant cell. And the chromosome, they are contain the hereditary unit, the DNA or the gene. Cytoplasm is the matrix of the cell. Eukaryotes, the advanced form of cells are known as the eukaryotes, whereas the primitive form of the cells are known as the prokaryotes. Now what is eukaryote? So see, if there is a nucleus, then you can say it is an eukaryote or advanced. If there is no nucleus, then it is called prokaryotes. There is no nucleus means they cannot form the new chromatin fibers are in case of this nucleus, the chromatin fibers are assembled within the nucleus. But in case of prokaryotes, the nuclear membrane, this chromatin fiber, they are dispersed within the cytoplasm. So what is the difference between the prokaryotes and eukaryotes? In case of eukaryotes, the chromatin fibers are aggregated within the nucleus and later on they develop the chromosome. But in case of prokaryotes, there is no nucleus, but the chromatin fiber is there. The chromatin fiber is dispersed within the cell. The cell matrix, it is the cytoplasm. The gene is they contain the hereditary unit of any progeny. Multicellular, the body which form of numerous cells is called the multicellular. The nuclear membrane, the membrane that present outside the nuclear, like the which is also highly porous in nature, is called the nuclear membrane. Nucleus is the most important part of the cell, which is more or less spherical in shape, and it contains the chromatin fibers. Nucleolus. The nucleolus is also an important organelles within the nucleolus. Nucleus, from this nucleolus, later on the chromatin fibers will develop. Then the organ is what? Whenever tissue systems perform a particular function, then it's called the organ. Organelles, the units, the cell contain a number of organelles which perform a typical function. Plastic is the artificially found in the plant cells only, and prokaryotes, as I told, prokaryotes is the the primitive form of the life form is called the prokaryotes. The pseudopodia is what? Pseudopodia, the false food that are present in the amoeba. Unicellular is the organism which form of only the single cell, like the amoeba. Vacuole are the empty space within the cell. And WBC are the cells that present within the plant or on animals, with the colorless cells, and that is and they can change their shape, are called the WBC. So that is all about this cell structure chapter. If you have any question, you people may communicate with me later on. I hope people will stay safe and take care of yourself, and whenever people will move out, you people will carry a mask and sanitize yourself. So that's all about this chapter. Thank you.